Many economic experts have pointed at lack of entrepreneurial skills and capacity building. So what are your plans to equip this set of people with the right entrepreneurial skills in doing business in the country?
I think one of the first things that we need to do is to have certification for who is a business development officer or support. Because everybody claims to be a business development officer or supporter, and everybody draws different business plans and everybody does whatever they want. But once we have proper certification, then if I am an MSME wanting to start a business, I can go to somebody who is certified, who has the requisite qualifications to teach me those entrepreneurial skills that we have. And this is what we're trying to have Smedan to do. Smedan have engaged partners and they're undergoing this training so that we can have the certification. And it's very important for us to be able to recognize that certification and from who. So it's not just anybody that will do. I know Bank of Industry has a similar process in place. So once you have a business plan from the certified BDSPs, then they are assured that they have quality, they have the kind of information that they need to be able to fund your business. And this is what we need for them, for our businesses to have. And then also we have to have them doing the proper training. If I want to do agric, I need to be trained by a proper agric business development officer, not by a general business. If I want to open a factory in fashion, I need to have somebody who knows. Because as an entrepreneur, I don't need to know everything now. I just have the general idea. I have a general idea, and I know I want to implement. And as an entrepreneur, you don't have to have all the skills, but you need to have some knowledge of some of what is going on. So you have to have your finances done properly. You have to have a proper accountant teach you what books you have. So these are things that we need to put in place before we start saying that micro, smaller businesses are not thriving.
Another snag in doing business in Nigeria is the falling value of the naira. And many economic experts have pointed towards the reviving of the commodity exchange as a way forward and also boosting local production. So what are you doing to facilitate this?
The Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority are going to partner with the commodities exchange. We're going to have a PPP arrangement with that. So I know that's ongoing currently.
Part of the economic recovery plan, the first mandate the Vice President mentioned was economic diversification of the nation's resources and trade. So how's your ministry keying into this mandate?
For us to be able to diversify the economy properly, we need to have interministerial committees on every sector so that every ministry is on the same page. So therefore, for us to do this industrialization properly, we have to partner very closely with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, because agriculture is key, and that's production, inputs, adequate seedlings, proper seedlings for the produce that we want to produce. Now, as also we have to ensure that we have the proper policies which contain incentives for the processing, the value addition of those commodities, and then the fiscal policies that will be surrounding those ones so that we can export them. So you can see how the partnerships, first we have to go with agric, then we have to go with finance, and then customs, and so on and so forth. So that's the role we have to play. For rice, for example, that we're doing now, we're responsible for ensuring that that rice is properly processed, properly packaged, and is ready for export.
How do you see the task force on food security?
Well, I know the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is a member of that committee, and I know that they've been meeting, but I'm not the one representing, but they've been meeting. And the essence of that committee is to find out, number one, why the distribution of food is not equal, because we had a bumper harvest. So why are people not getting the food? And if they're getting the food, why are they getting it at high prices? And how can government come in to intervene? So that was the essence of that committee. And I know from feedback, one of the issues that have been identified has to do with transportation of foods. By the time you're moving from one place to another, the cost of transportation has already made the food very, very expensive. The second thing is the preservation of those foods. So they're not able to be preserved. So government is trying to identify partners, again with the private sector, on how we can use some of the federal reserves that we have, as well as the private reserves, so that food is being transported, and managing the price of food, because we don't want food to be too expensive for the Nigerian citizens.
So as the Honorable Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, if you are to advise the federal government on finding answers to the problem of food security in the nation, what would be your advice?
All of us should go back to the farm.
Everyone?
Yes.
Let's also quickly talk on driving of exports now. Tell us more about the Export Expansion Grant Scheme.
The Export Expansion Grant Scheme, we all know, is a scheme that has been on and off for several years. This administration intends to bring it back, but it's bringing it back renewed and reviewed. Currently, audits are going on to see who has genuine requests. We all know that government doesn't really have the money now to pay the outstandings, so we're trying to find out what we can do with those, but it's all work in progress. We understand that every country that wants to promote export must have some kind of incentive, so we were very much aware of that. But if we bring it back, we want to minimize the abuse, and we want to make sure that, because the essence is also to encourage backward integration, so we want to ensure that whatever we bring out has the main objectives and the requisite outcomes that come with it.
Before we wind down this conversation, could you look into the camera and tell Nigerians, when are we getting out of economic recession?
I will just urge Nigerians to please continue to be patient and prayerful. Nigeria is going through a difficult time, but I think in economics you have the up and down, and Nigeria is, and I think we're already going up, even though we might not feel it, but we will gradually get there by God's grace. They're trying times for all of us, and we all know what has been happening in our country, but this is the time for us to now invest in ourselves, invest in our nation, and hopefully that things will get better.
Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, thank you so much for making our time to be part of this episode of Question Time, and also for giving us insights into the federal government's economic recovery plan. We wish you the very best of luck. Thank you very much indeed. And that's it on this episode of Question Time. What's your take on the federal government's economic recovery and growth plan? Send us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. Join us next week, another exciting episode of the show on Channels Television. Many thanks for watching. I'm Gbenga Ashiru. Bye for now.